Hi, Shelley from Spin Cushions here, or Crochet Designs by Shelley Husband. Today we're going to do the classic circle to square. So we have some interesting work around here, but everything else is fairly straightforward. So find my yarn and let's get started. All right, so there's no corners in the first 3 rounds. We're just going to work straight stitches. So start with our yarn, our hook with a slip knot, and then we're going to chain 1. And all of our first round stitches will be into that chain. Then we chain 3 to pre our first stitch. Then we're going to do 11 stitches in that first chain. So 11 plus this chain 3 make 12 stitches. So into that first loop there. So that's 1. I will do 11. You don't need to watch me do that. And I'll show you how to join up and continue on. All right, 12 stitches including that starting chain done. I'm just going to join with a slip stitch to our the top of our third chain, and we continue on with round 2. Round 2 we're just going to do 2 stitches in every stitch, but we need to start with chain 3 just to represent our first stitch, and we do 1 in the same place we joined with the slip stitch. Now if you just use the top loop like I recommend, it's nice and clear where to work that stitch. And then it's just 2 in every stitch all the way around. So 2 in one stitch. So we've just done 1, so we go in the same hole to do another one. We do the same thing all the way around. So we're going to end up with 24 stitches this time. 1, 2. So I'll do that and show you what happens next. All right, all my stitches are done. I just need to join with a slip stitch to the top of my third chain. And we'll go on to round 3. Again, we start with chain 3. Here's our starting chain. We'll do a stitch in the same stitch. Now this time, we're just going to do 1 stitch in the next stitch. So we've got 2 stitches, 1 stitch. So we're going to alternate around 2, 1, 2, 1. So 2 in the next stitch. 1, 2, 1 in the next stitch. 2 in the next stitch. You should have 36 stitches at the end of this round. It's important that you make sure you do, otherwise squaring off in the next round won't work. So I'll keep going and then I'll show you what happens at the end. Okay, I've been all the way around, I have my 36 stitches. So now I'm going to join with a slip stitch to the top of my third chain and we are ready to square off. Okay, so the next round we're going to do lots of different stitches along our sides. You just need to take it slow and take your time and you'll be fine. So we start with chain 3 as our starting chain. We're going to do a stitch in the same stitch as our slip stitch, which is that big hole there. Now we're going to do a stitch, normal stitch in the next stitch. Then we're going to do a half stitch in the next 2 stitches. 1 half stitch, 2 half stitches. Then we're going to do our smallest stitch in the next 2 stitches. 1, 2. And we're going to do a half in the next 2. 1, 2. Then we'll do a normal stitch in the next stitch. And in the next stitch, we're going to do our corner, which is 2 stitches, chain 2, 2 stitches, all in this same stitch. 1, 2, chain 2, and then 2 more stitches in that same stitch. Seems crazy, but it works, trust me. All right, now because we've got 2 lots of terminology, I'm going to do this side using UK terminology and then I'll do another side using US. Okay, so UK terminology, treble in the next stitch, half treble in the next 2, double crochet in the next 2, half treble in the next 2, then a treble in the next stitch. Then we do our corner. which is 2 treble, 2 chain, 2 treble, or if you're US, it's 2 doubles, chain 2, 2 doubles. All right, just finish that corner off, and now I'm going to talk in US terms. So we're going to do a double crochet in the next stitch. Then we're going to do a half double in the next 2. 1, 2. Then we're going to do a single in the next 2. 1, 2. Then we're going to do a half double in the next 2. 1, 2. Then we're going to do a double in the next stitch, just 1. And then we do our corner in the next stitch. So I'll do that and do that last side and show you what happens next. Okay, after been all the way around, I just need to do 2 stitches in the same stitch as our first stitch. So if you have a look, there's our chain 3, and that's our first stitch. So at the base there, that hole there is where we are going to work our last 2 stitches to finish off that first corner. Looks a bit weird, but trust me, it'll all work fine. Then we're going to chain 1 and join with a double crochet UK, single crochet US to the top of our 3rd chain. And then the next 2 rounds are really, really easy, and you've done it all before. Chain 3, starting chain, stitch over the joining stitch, then it's just a single stitch in every stitch along, and in the 2 chain spaces, 2 stitches, chain 2, 2 stitches. The same for both rounds. You're just going to have more stitches in round 6. So I will go all the way up to the end of round 6 and show you how we finish it off. And here we are at the end of round 6, just 2 solid rounds, 5 and 6. Just do 2 stitches in the same place as my first stitches here. Then I'm going to chain 2 and join with a slip stitch to the top of my 3rd chain. And that's that. Now, if you're following on with Granny Square Academy, you'll know that this week, this part, I mentioned how to change colours, because this is a perfect square to practice changing colours. It's great having a circle in one colour and squaring off in a different one. So have a go at that if you're following along, and I hope you've learnt something new. So that's part 7 of Granny Square Academy done. Circle Cindy. I will see you soon if you're continuing on. If you don't know what Granny Square Academy is, head to spincushions.com and check the Granny Square Academy tab. Thanks very much. Bye.